Guys, howdy. It's here. All right, guys. So, for those of you who don't know what this is something really special. From Tim at Carry Dev. It's a knife that basically, it's a prototype of his, and he put it up for auction, and I was lucky enough to come out victorious on that, and I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful because I know, wow, Tim, the new packaging, my man, is freaking fire. I know that he rarely, if ever, does this. He never gives away prototypes. He never gives away the #1 serial number of anything that he owns. So I am personally feeling super blessed to get this in. So let's dig right in. Tim redid his packaging, and I must say, Tim, it looks really good. I'm going to go ahead and open this, of course, with my Carry Dev 1, because it's just that kind of occasion, right? All right. Wow. Look at that. That is so clean, Tim. It looks great, man. The new packaging it's phenomenal. So, like I said, this was one that he had put up for auction. And look, I've really gotten into Tim's work. First of all, if you haven't seen the video on this, you need to go watch it. It's absolutely stunning. He rock scaled these Stingray scales from 285 Woodworks. And I mean, they just came out perfect, and Magna Cut, perfect little fixed blade carry. But I've been really getting into Tim's stuff, and when he put this, up for auction, I had to. I mean, there just wasn't really any stopping it. I sold some knives. I did everything that I could to make sure that I had the funds for it, and I did. I was able to get it, and I'm feeling so thankful for that, because this is the Carry Dev 12, or the Magnesium. This is literally #1. #12 Proto #1 in S90V at 63.5 HRC. That's been fine glass blasted. It is a titanium scale material, and then also all titanium hardware that has been anodized like a bluish green color. So just like I said, guys, I'm feeling so incredibly thankful to be able to have this and own this. I can tell you right now that this isn't a knife that's going to go anywhere. Like, this is one that will be cherished in my collection. Wow, Tim. Such a cool display. I mean, I have to keep the box too, so. All right, let's put that back in there. Get this closed up. Wow. All right. Now the moment you've all been waiting for. So he's got them tied up in this new Carry Dev, kind of like a burlap sack. Such a good presentation. And okay, I see. I thought it was just a slip. So it's tied loosely. He didn't overly tie it, but there we go. I am nervous, guys. Are you ready? Oh my God. Holy cow. Let me Let me get this adjusted for y'all. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm over here just geeking out at the knife. Wow, Tim. This is unreal, man. What a beautiful knife. So this is the 12, all titanium, like I said, and this is actually one of the other things that it's a first of, is the first of this lock style. So excuse me if I'm getting used to it, but with a flipper tab back here. Oh yeah, that works good. I like that flipper tab, Tim. That is nice. Wow, look how slick this is. This is unreal. Tim. Holy smokes, man. Look at the work. Oh, I feel so blessed to have this knife. Wow. Look at the CNC and the milling work. Wow, 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 wow. I love this blade shape. Sweet, sweet, really pronounced sheepsfoot. And then look at Tim just gets a really good shine. Look at this. I'm shaking. I'm so excited. All right. So let's get to this, right? Guys, welcome back to another one. Today, I have a really special guest on with me, Tim with Carry Development. Tim, thank you so much for coming on today, man. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Hey, absolutely. I know it was kind of short notice, so just super, honestly, just super grateful for you doing this. And honestly, the reason that we're here is pretty cool, right? Like ultimately, I was able to grab your prototype of your new 12 model, the Magnesium, off of an auction that you did, your first ever auction, your first ever time. I think it was auctioning off one of your prototypes on top of that. First knife with a new locking mechanism in it. So just a lot of firsts. And man, I just feel so blessed to be able to have this knife. It's gorgeous. The lines, the craftsmanship, it's just beautiful, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you for getting in on the auction.
So the 12 is, it's a really distinct look and name. What inspired this model?
Um, like with the name, I used to have a way of naming things with mythical creatures, and I would put a lot of thought and effort into it and what creature inspired that knife, you know?
Sure. Yeah.
But so now that I'm doing the numbers, the 12, it mainly is just in line.
Nice. Okay. I mean, that
Um,
does make it a little easier. I mean, it's kind of, you just go down the line, you know what you're coming up on periodic table wise, because I'm that's what they're named after, is off the periodic table. And so I think that, I mean, for a guy who is doing it all his own in his shop, that kind of takes a little bit of weight off of you right now. You don't have to dream about mythical creatures in the middle of the night for a new name.
yeah, exactly.
That's So
Yeah,
you
and
went
with
with
the
a sheep's foot for this model, right? Really nice,
did,
really
yep.
defined sheep's foot. In S90V, great stainless steel. What made that combination the right choice for this project?
I just hadn't done a sheep's foot yet.
Okay.
Um, I mainly have done a lot of drop points and Warncliffs,
Yeah.
and I wanted to do a sheep's foot.
Yeah.
And with the S90, I've really stuck to using the same blade steels for a long time. Nitro, Magna Cut, S35, and Crewwear.
Okay.
And I've been wanting to branch out into other steels.
Nice.
And I did 20 CV for a while, and S90 was the next that I wanted to have a go with.
Nice. Did you find that's interesting? Did you find that it was similar treating to like say like an S30 that you've used, or even like a Magna Cut, that are like decently similar in properties, or was it pretty difficult or different, I guess I should say?
Pretty similar to Magna Cut.
Okay. Yeah.
So the the temperature is the same for the austenizing. The tempering is a little bit different temperature that
Gotcha.
I'm doing with the S90 versus the Magna Cut, but they're they're pretty close to the same recipe.
Nice. Yeah. And I know your temp or your HRC, we've got up to a 63 and a half, give or take a variance of like a half HRC
Yeah,
each way, which is, I mean, a wonderful spot to be in for S90. So it seems like, you were pretty comfortable in your heat treat with it. And I mean, like I said, it turned out to be such a stunning shape of a sheep's foot. So great job on that, man.
appreciate
So
that. Thank you.
absolutely. So from a production standpoint, what went into bringing the 12 to life? Was CNC machining a big part of the process?
Oh yeah, huge.
Yeah.
It's kind of become a big part of my process in general now. Uh, all of the fixed blades forever I made by hand.
Hmm.
Um, but now that I've got the CNC mill, I'm trying to transfer like everything over. Um, and the 12 was a big part of that in like my learning process.
Yeah.
So the 11 and 12, they're the first folders I've ever machined
Okay.
myself.
Wow.
Uh, we had a slight run of ones that we did frame locks, but they never ended up making it out into the world.
Gotcha.
So the 11 and the 12, they were big for me for figuring out folders and machining,
Yeah.
if
I
that
mean, and
makes
it's
sense.
personally, it's very apparent on this knife and not like in a bad way. The milling lines and just the lines cut into the knife and just the way that it flows and like you can tell. I mean, it's just gorgeous. There's something to be said about, right, like you can hand make a knife and that's beautiful in one aspect, but when you really get to learning the side of CNC and machining, it can also equally be just as beautiful and just as eloquent. And I can tell you, holding this thing and looking at it, this is certainly that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've been a machinist my whole life, so I kind of had a leg up.
There you go.
But when it comes to machining folders, that's totally new, and figuring out how everything has to work together and stuff like that. So there was a lot of prototyping that that happened.
Well, then that makes it even more impressive because for that, the 11 and the 12 being the first ones, this truly like is running so smooth. The noises it makes, the connections that you can tell where those connection points are, and like, the clinks and the clanks that you get are just so, it's almost like mechanical, like it was made. You know what I mean? Like it's so cool. It's almost like made mechanically, became mechanically with a lot of soul in it as well, which is an odd thing to kind of say, but
Hmm.
I think if you held this in your hand, like you and I both have, you understand what I mean. You know what I mean? Like this knife is debuting a new locking mechanism. Without going into too many details, what problem were you aiming to solve with this design?
I've always wanted to do a button lock,
Okay.
and I've never owned a button lock.
Wow.
So uh, really, a lot of it was me not knowing how normal people do button locks.
Wow.
And I mean, I get the idea of it,
Sure, sure.
but I can never do anything the easy way.
We love
Like
you. We love that about you, Tim. We love that about you.
my parents will tell you, like, whenever I was a kid, I would have to like take all my radios apart and my remote control cars apart because I have to know how everything works and stuff.
Wow.
And I have to figure out how to make things work my own way.
Yeah.
And that was the result. I
Yeah.
had the idea to do that knife probably a year and a half ago,
Wow.
or that locking mechanism. And it's just I haven't been able to do it this whole time because I didn't have the CNC.
Sure.
And now I've got it, so I was like, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
The 12 was originally I designed it as a liner lock, a
Really?
partial liner
Okay.
lock, like the 11 is.
Yeah. Hmm.
That's why on the prototype that you have, you can see a thumb ramp on the inside of the scale.
Yeah. I did see that when I
So,
was looking at it actually.
yeah.
Yep.
So it was originally going to be a liner lock,
Wow.
and then I this one no one's really seen.
Wow.
So this was this was what that started as.
Wow, look at that handle. That swoop back on that is so slick.
I really liked it in the design process, and then I
Yeah.
made it, and I was just like, this is not comfortable.
Wow, interesting.
Um, and so it has a liner.
Nice. Yep,
So it
sure
was originally
does.
a liner lock. And whenever I made this one, I got it in hand, and I was just like, I don't love the shape of these scales.
Hmm.
So I redesigned the handles, and that's when I was like, I'm gonna try that locking mechanism. We're
Yeah.
gonna see if we can make this work.
Yep. And so that's what we're talking about, guys. That's the button right there, and then just a little bit into the back. But then, like he was saying too, he was trying to make it into a liner lock at first. So I don't know if you can see in there, but yeah, there's a relief cutout right here. Interesting. Very cool. I
Yeah,
mean, it's such a cool thing, like you said to me, and like we said earlier, you've never really released a prototype before, a number one labeled knife. So it's such a cool thing to get here and talk to someone and especially see things like that, right? And I love that you didn't go back and like try to fix that on the prototype. Like I love that that is still there because that's what a prototype is, right? Like
hmm
it tells a story, and that's really cool that you didn't go back in and try to make something perfect on a prototype and like that you auctioned one that was like that. I mean, like the soul and the story behind this knife is something that I'll tell forever. I mean, it's just such a cool thing, you know. And
yeah,
I really think that's part of what you're doing is changing the norm, like you said, in such a in such a different way than most people think about it, but at the same time like you're not really changing much, you know what I mean? Like it still functions all the same way, but you've just
hmm
almost timified it, right? You've carried
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
That,
That's a good way to put it.
while making this, what were some of the biggest challenges in making this new lock style or even just the whole knife concept in general?
Um, the biggest challenge was getting the tolerance right for the lockup.
Yeah.
Um, the way that it locks up and when it locks up is really important in that design. And it was lots of sizing in, and
Yeah.
then, oh dang it, I blew it out. I made it too big.
Yeah.
That blade's gone. Let's try this again. Try it
Wow.
again. Try it again. So I've got a stack of blades
How many would you
that
guesstimate you went through trying to prototype it?
probably eight,
Wow.
8 or 9.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you sit down and you design a knife, do you start with utility and function first, or is it more of like a form and aesthetics kind of thing?
It starts with form and aesthetic.
Okay.
Um, Things have to look good to me. If they
Sure.
don't look good to me, I'm not going to buy them.
Yeah.
Um, so they start aesthetically, and I think my own sort of design language,
Hmm.
um,
I'd say
and
so.
it has to meet that criteria while I'm designing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, so it starts aesthetically, and then once I get into like 3D printing it out and getting a feel for it in hand and stuff, that's when it becomes form.
Okay. Well, Tim, look, man, I know time is super valuable. Like I said, I'm so happy and so thrilled that you came on today with me. I know it was something you were apprehensive about. Doing these videos is something I was super apprehensive about. So I just want to just say thank you, man. And I'll hit you with one last question.
Yeah.
Looking ahead, do you see elements from the 12, like the lock design cues or even maybe the blade shape, influencing future carry development projects?
Um, the lock, definitely.
Yeah.
The blade shape, most likely.
Hmm.
So the locking mechanism, it was kind of a happy accident when I was making, trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not going to go into detail of how the locking mechanism works yet,
Sure.
but if I do one thing slightly different, it becomes like a dual detent slip joint.
Hmm. Interesting.
Um, so I'm going to play with that. I'm actually designing a folder right now with that in mind and trying
Nice.
to figure out the dual detent slip joint instead of
Cool.
making it a full locking button.
Yeah.
Um, so that's coming, hopefully, if I can get it all
Nice.
worked out. So the locking, and I really like the locking mechanism, so I'm
I do
definitely
too.
going to be doing it
Yeah.
on more models.
I'm glad to
And
hear
as
that
for
this.
the blade shape, most likely because I'm really digging that sheep's foot.
Yeah. I'm really glad to hear all of that. I think this model being one that was like totally out of, I mean, not out of your realm, right? Like it's a very carry development Tim looking knife, but at the same time, new locking mechanism. One of the first folders we're making, first of the blade style. Like, I think you really stepped out of your comfort zone on this one and you really tested your limits. And
Hmm.
I think you really blew it out of the water, Tim. Like, I think where you're going with your style and honestly your ability to get past, I think, fear of maybe failing or not making something exactly like you wanted is a really strong suit for you because the things that you come out with, I mean, you have a cult following for sure. I'm all aboard. I sent a message to you the other day in a group that we're in that said that I have a carry dev problem and I'm not lying. um, but like you said, we're going to make it work for me because that's what we do, right? And
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what the future, holds for you, Tim. If you ever need anything, I'm certainly here for you, and I'm certainly along for the ride. Thank you so
Heck
much
yeah.
for coming on today, and I hope you have a great day.
Same, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. The specs on this. So this is, like I said, the Carry Dev 12 Magnesium, and it is the #1 prototype. So let's go ahead and get some measurements in here. Overall length should come in, according to Tim, at 6 3/4 of an inch. So let's go tip back here to tip. I mean, right on 6 3/4. Cutting edge should be 2 3/8. Yeah, 2 3/8, maybe just a tad over that. Blade length in general is like 2 3/4, and then handle length he has listed at 4, and I mean that's like right on 4. I mean spot on 4. So measurements are great. Tim definitely has that dialed in. Now let's do some comparison size wise. So up against, I think, the first and foremost, his flagship model, the Carry Dev 1. So there's that. Let me get a little bit more of a down shot for y'all, so it's showing true sizes here. Okay, and then how about also up against the Tikal Piranha? So way more handle in this knife, obviously. Just an overall longer knife than both of these, but when you put up even blade length against these, really comparable in size, okay? I think these are gonna be two that I carry a lot together, just complementary. I mean, utility blade style, pokey blade style. I mean, just sounds like a good all-around carry to me, so. All right, up next, two of my absolute favorites in my collection by a guy that I have so much respect for and just love following his work. So Jacob creates the Vanguard Mary, and then his collaboration with Jack Wolf Knife, the Collusion. Okay, very close in size to that. Also, similar blade style. So those are more your medium style fixed blade. I guess what I would call a medium style fixed blade. And then we'll go up against the North Edge Tools Ghost and the Legion Defense Solutions Snake Eater. Yeah, the Snake Eater is going to dwarf that. So is the Ghost. They're both just larger knives. Quote unquote larger knives. I mean, there's definitely bigger out there, but you get what I'm saying. How about up against some really well-known folders, just for those who need a good size comparison? So the Baby Banter, and then how about the Kaiser Original? And this is an exclusive. I love that variant. That gunmetal gray with the black looks really good. All right, and then how about the Civivi Elementum 2 button lock and a QSP Penguin. Pretty dang close to a QSP Penguin. Definitely a little bit shorter. Yeah, a little bit shorter, a little bit smaller, but really similar. Definitely shorter than the Elementum 2. How about the Ritter Hogue Mini? And how about the Benchmade? Okay, real close again in size to the Benchmade. A little bit shorter, definitely not as girthy as the Hogue, but both really good models, the Griptilian and the Mini Ritter Hogue. So how about up against a Demco Stealth Cub and the famous one from recently, the Civivi Guile? Okay, real close to in like what this is gonna feel like. Obviously, definitely a longer blade, longer handle in this one. Actually, pretty similar when you go back to back. Yeah, real similar in size. All right, now we'll get into a couple. How about some Jack Wolfs? This is the Diamondback Jack and the Tango Jack. Okay, definitely closer in size to the Tango Jack, different blade shape overall, of course, and then the Diamondback is certainly going to be just a little bit longer. So let's go 2 more Jack Wolfs, and then we'll blow through a couple more, and then we'll get into some more details on this, okay? So here's the Jack Wolf knives, the Benny, modded by Knife Modders, and the After Hours Tortoise, also not modded by Knife Modders. So shorter than both of those, definitely smaller, going to be a little bit smaller of a carried knife than probably most of the ones that I put up. I mean, it's not tiny by any means, don't get me wrong, like this knife is by no means tiny, like it's a great size, but it is just a little thinner in stature, and I think that's perfect. That's kind of what I like. If you take a notice, a lot of these blades that I put up here are not super far off from what this is. So right in my wheelhouse. Definitely smaller than those two. This is going to be the Tri-State EDC Tri-Stash. Great knife, Tri-State. If you ever watch my videos, I really love this thing, man. Modded by Valley Blade Works. And then the ProTech Malibu and Carry Commission collab, which was modded by Knife Modders. And last but not least, let's go into my fancier side, because this is the realm where this lives price-wise, and close to some of those other ones, but this is definitely where that price realm lives, at least for me, for the auction piece. And so a McNeese, the Mac, and then the Oz Machine Company Roosevelt. Real close to a Rosian size, definitely thinner. But overall length is pretty close, definitely smaller than a Mac. Similarly shaped to a Mac, which is pretty cool. I mean, obviously not like a carbon copy at all, completely different, but my point being is like that, it's got that swoop back in the back, really kind of fits in your hand. So we'll go over some of that now. Let's do some how it fits in your hand, how it feels. Let's kind of go over that. Now, one of the things that I did notice, you know, this is a prototype, guys. Like, Tim has been working his butt off to get us some cool stuff. And like I said, I'm so honored to be able to be the one that owns this knife. I know that there were plenty of people out there that wanted to have that chance, and I'm so grateful that I am the one that gets that chance. So in saying that, and the reason I do say that is I also know and have some insight that Tim is going to change some things on this knife. This, first and foremost, is a new locking system. I know it looks like a button lock. It's not, though. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get more information on that. I really hope that I can get a little bit, but I don't want to divulge any of Tim's information that he's trying to, get either patented or protect, because, well, that's kind of the name of the game, right? So really good finger choil in here. You can get it in for a Spidey flick. I've got to get used to how this thing flicks. So that's on me, Tim, and anybody else watching this. And then you can do a thumb flick really easily, yeah. So thumb flick I can do. You just have to give it a little oomph. Yeah, Spidey flick's good. Close. Yeah, thing sounds great. And then also, so the choil, great. You can get your finger in there. I can get a good enough purchase. I have no fingernails, guys, so I never worry about getting a fingernail under there, but I can get the fat of my finger in there and get a flick out, no problem. And then I can also get my thumb in there, like we said. That's actually the easier one for me, leverage-wise, and I think it's just a learning thing. I'll learn how to use it. And then the flipper. So Tim said, I think he said that this is probably going to go away, the flipper. And it is a little hard to get to, but again, I think it's a learning thing. Yeah, see, that's what it is. You can't try to flick it. It's more of like a light switch. Maybe I'm holding the button too. I'm not sure. I'll have to play with it and figure it out. That certainly is no fault of Tim. That's probably a fault of me. See, once you get in there and you get it in the right position, it's really easy. The closing noise sounds good. Let's try to get the opening and closing. That audible click is nice. Oh, I like that. Wow. So beautiful S90 V blade. And like he said, finely blasted. The sweet Carry Dev logo right there. And then that anodizing is truly just beautiful. There is some internal milling in there, it looks like. I don't know if that's part of the lock. But, I mean, I can tell you right now, this thing is very, very lightweight. And just look at the milling lines on this. I mean, it's just stunning. Wow. Guys, thank you so much for coming back and watching another one. Tim, if you watch this, I love this, brother. This is a gold mine. I think you've got something really great here. I can't wait to see, what little changes you make to improve or even, whatever it might be. I don't think it needs any improvement, man. I am blown away by this. I'm so honored to get to own this. Thanks, guys. Peace.